Hello, welcome to Wednesday. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, an exercise that I do every morning, a little bit after waking up, to remember my life objectives and principles. Those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any noteworthy challenges or opportunities that I met. I align myself with my ethical or value-based north and plan for the day. So let's begin. First of all, I want to say welcome to new subscribers to the channel. It's good to have you here. And a quick disclaimer that I do sometimes talk about sensitive subjects on this video, so don't be surprised. And this is all about me. So this is my personal journal video, so I do tend to talk to myself and about myself in this video. So if you're welcome to listen in. You can leave a comment if you like, and I will respond. I will read comments and respond at the end. Also, I'm trying something a little bit different. Let me finish that first, the preamble part. And a huge thank you to subscribers, supporters as members on YouTube, and supporters on Patreon. Thank you. I know I've been delinquent in providing adventure videos to the channel for a couple of weeks, but I have good reason. I don't have a good, solid situation with my driver's license here in Japan, so hopefully be remedying that today. It's pretty. Going to the driving center today. I think I have all my paperwork in order. I'm trying something different today, like I started to say. Instead of trying to align the start of this with a particular place, I'm aligning it with a particular time, which was 5:30 a.m. I've begun attending the morning radio exercise session in my neighborhood, which is at 6:30. So it's been a little tricky the last couple of days. I started it this week. It's been a little tricky the last couple of days getting there on time. I missed it once because when I'm doing this, I can't see the time. So instead, what I thought I would do is start this promptly at 5:30 wherever I am, and you can see that I'm currently walking along the street, and do this in as deliberate a manner as possible as I continue to make my way back to my neighborhood to be there ahead of the radio exercise. So this is kind of a new way to do it. I have to be a little more considerate of people that I meet along the street, so I don't make them feel uncomfortable, and watch the volume of my voice. There's some nice flowers too. Look at this. But as a result, you kind of get to see things along the way. My father-in-law was telling me that those are petals, which I guess petals on flowers are all modified leaves in one way or another. Ooh, Japanese maple. That's so nice. Look at all that. All right, so let's begin. 3 things I'm going to do now. I'll talk about the last 24 hours. I already said I was going to do. Yep, here we go. So for yesterday, what I'm looking for is moments where I stumbled, where my plan for the day didn't quite match the reality as events unfolded. And it's easy to respond well. It's easy to be in control and do well when everything goes according to plan. It's when it doesn't go as planned that things get interesting. And I'm not, perhaps it's because I'm not stretching the coat of my life very much lately, because I'm living very much within the lane lines of our simple little life here. So I'm not finding very often that I'm challenged anymore, but I am noticing some interesting changes in the atmosphere of life, which I keep bringing up over and over, day in, day in out, namely a greater self-control and a greater sense of balance, which I think could be attributed to this aforementioned fact that life is simple. It's hard to be to feel like you're out of control when you're living in a very constrained manner. But it doesn't feel quite like that. Also, it feels like a deeper sense of control. It feels like the confusion, the mad war fog of the working years and the parenting years has passed. So life still is, but it's not as dramatic as it was before. Also, another thing that's changing is this settled calm. I feel like I've gone to another country in a way. I literally have, being here in Japan, but it's another country altogether from that. It's a country populated with people like me. You know, we see each other. You know, I remember before I retired, I would see the old people that were clearly free, doing their more leisurely things at their more leisurely paces. And I would feel like they were of another species. You know, it's like recognizing a really rich person and thinking they're humans, but they're operating in some other paradigm that I can't quite relate to. That's how I always felt about retired people. The ones that were clearly retired. You know, the group of old women chatting noisily along the street, oblivious to the world around them, because they didn't give a damn anymore. They had their own little concerns about, what's blooming in the garden, and what's the state of grandkids, what's the neighborhood gossip, or what are more things, I don't know. But you know what I mean. They didn't care so much about head down, let's get to work get at our desk by 8:30 a.m. And so I couldn't relate to them. Now that I'm part of that group, I'm finding myself feeling like a part of that group. And I'm looking now at the others, like there's a truck sitting right there, getting ready to unload into this market here, probably, this drugstore. There's probably a guy, you can see the bed thing, the windows are closed. You know, truck drivers do that, right? They sleep in their trucks. I don't know if that's the case, if he's asleep in there. No, it can't be, because it doesn't have a cab. I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere. He's attending to something. He's on the other side. He's in another world, another country from wherever he is. It's a pretty cool truck. All the people roaring by on their cars up there. This Star office building. Just about in an hour and a half, people are going to start filtering in. There's a woman, security guard there, hoisting the flags right now. Or maybe that's a man, I can't tell. See? Getting ready to hoist the flags up. Commencing the day. That person's in another country. Another world. All the people that are going to be filling that building on this hump day, Wednesday, day 2, are in that other country. My people are different. I've become one of them. So this ease that I feel, maybe the peaceful, easy feeling that I sometimes describe, is partly made up of that. So how does this relate, Kurt, to what you were saying about the last 24 hours? Well, I did a lot of interesting things yesterday. I fulfilled my 2 objectives, which is to list one item. Well, it's one objective, to list an antique item in my store. That's all I need to do every day now, is just list an item. And I have orders to fill, so I filled one yesterday, and I have another one to fill today, and I'll list another item when I get home. It's pretty straightforward. Of note beyond that was the fact that here, this is another interesting thing. There's 7-Eleven here, and there's a garbage man. His thing, he's in that other world too. You see it's closed. 7-Eleven's usually a 24-hour affair. The reason it's closed is they can't get enough employees to work here. There just aren't enough workers anymore. So they didn't want to, but they had to close down at night because they can't find anybody to work here. Imagine that. So I did that. I listed my item. I shipped my item. I then, and this is really interesting, spent a long time yesterday reading my book. And one of the things that's happened is that I enjoy reading, but it's never been easy for me. I've always felt restless, and I've always wanted to, get up, and felt like I wasn't a good use of time because I had, things to attend to, a career to run or family to raise, and that's all fading away. I'm for the first time in my life, I can sit for hour upon hour, reading slowly, dwelling on the new vocabulary that I encounter, or the ideas that are there, or going back and studying, reflecting on how what I'm reading now relates to other things that I've read. I mean, this is the meat. This is the marrow of life. This is the thing that if heaven were a place in my worldview, I would imagine that that's what I would get to do all day, is to read and digest great literature. I did that a lot yesterday. It was good. The other thing I did was I took a swim in the Yoshida River, the river behind my house. I actually isolated a little channel close to the ladder that leads down from the up above, from my house, from my garden, and I was able to actually get in there and swim. As a result, I feel really good. I feel when I swim, swimming always makes me feel exceptionally good. I feel very, very fit. Like I keep saying that my body is deteriorating away. The one thing that counters that effectively is a good swim. So I had that. And then I met somebody, one of the original J-vloggers, came all the way down from Tokyo yesterday, and we spent basically the whole afternoon on this street. We went to a Starbucks over there. I'm gonna hold the camera down because there's people around. We went to Starbucks over there, had coffee. Then we had lunch here. We sat at that table right there for at least 2 hours. And then we went over there. That's the Family Mart where the bench is. That's the Family Mart bench. And we got ice cream. And then we went over to the park and sat in the shade and talked for another hour and a half, 2 hours. Really good and interesting time with someone from the past. And then that person went back to Tokyo, and I went home and wrapped up the day. And altogether, I clocked in yesterday a sense of productivity at a very high level, but just now, productivity part is becoming less, just starting to lose its significance. And this family here, they have the nicest garden. Isn't this nice? They do this every year. They live right there, and they have this plot of land that could be a house, but instead they run a garden out of it. Isn't it beautiful? And they always do such a good job. In the wintertime, this will just be all bare black earth. So pretty. And this, everybody, is the old Tokaido Highway, the most famous road in Japan. This is it, right here. It goes from there all the way up there, and it leads from, up there is Tokyo, Edo, and down there is Kyoto. And back in the old days, emperors, shoguns, samurai traipse up and down this road. This is it. This is the old Tokaido Highway. You'd hardly recognize it. One of the ways you can tell these really old streets, old roads in Japan, is they naturally curve and follow the landscape. So I got home in the early evening last night, and my wife and I had a really nice dinner. We walked the dogs, and then went to bed. It was a good day. Yesterday was a really good day, and I wouldn't measure it by in the way that I did before, but more by the good utilization of time. What was this way I measured before? Well, the way I measured it before was by productivity. This is my wife's uncle's place. He's kind of the leader of our community. It's a very humble little house here, but he's the big man of the whole area. The daimyo, maybe. not really. That's literally what daimyo means, is big name. the swinging dick. Anyway, they're an important family here. I think I'll wrap up enough about yesterday. It was a good day yesterday. Boy, if I could live days like that, well engaged with utility, getting lots of exercise, good quality exercise, doing a little bit of something that kind of looks like work. Let's go this way, people. Something that looks like work, that feels like work, feels productive, touches that old drive and need for the work a day. And then also spent a lot of good time talking to somebody. There's a firefly just zipped by us, not glowing yet. And there's where I live up there. That's the valley up there, the Valley of Tea. When my wife was a kid, her family's house is up around the corner. All of this was just tea fields. So you're like, yeah, it's a valley of tea, but there's not a lot of tea. That's tea right there, that whole hatake right there. I don't know if that's properly a hatake, it's a tea field. But it used to be when she was a kid, these were all tea fields. A very famous poet lives there, in that house right there. He has this house and he lives in it. And he's a very secretive, secluded man. And he has this garden here. This is a very, very expensive, this is a really expensive place to community. Probably the most exclusive community in Shizuoka, this area. And he has this giant lot. You could put 4 houses here. And he lets it all go basically all wild like this. And he's actually a famous poet in Japan. And that's his little garden trail. And you'll see him once in a while. He's rail thin, very thin man. And I've seen him for years when I lived here before. There was his mailbox. Seen him before when I lived here before. Yeah, I had no idea that he was famous. And then my sister-in-law just recently told me about him, who he was. Interesting. So anyway, back to it, Kurt. So that was what I did yesterday. As for the creed, it consists of 8 objectives that align me with, that help me to ensure that I'm making good use of my time. These objectives are as follows. My first objective, and these are in order of importance, is to be always ready to die. So I want to live a way that I'm attending to the most important things first and foremost every day, so that I begin the day ready for this to be my last day or my last moment. Prepared to go down without a single backwards glance. I say that, and I mean that very deliberately. Because the idea of the backwards glance is that, suddenly I'm struck with a heart attack and I'm falling over, face planting into the ground. My family is behind me. I don't want to be turning back and saying, oh, I wish I had done something. I wish I had said something. I forgot to do something, right? None of that. Take care of it ahead of time, Kurt. Fall face down into the ground. Eyes into the darkness. No thoughts for the world I'm leaving behind. For nothing. This worm. Now, these worms here in Japan, they get caught out here like that, and then it's going to be a hot day, but they're really fragile. If you try to pick them up, they'll come in half. I don't know why they're more sensitive than Western worms. See if I can get it out of here. It'll probably be okay, but it's going to nowhere land right over there. See if I can. No, don't go down there. You'll drown if you go in there. But if you touch them too much, you'll kill them. You don't want to go there. There you go. You're still going the wrong way. There we go. Come on. There's a field up here that will make good use of you. This is my wife's dad's house. They used to own all of this land, all through here. There we go. Put the worm in the garden. There used to be a shack here. This is like a no man's land right here. And there was an old man that lived in there. And he died in there one winter. And right here, his body was in there for a while before anybody found him. And there's no sign of that anymore. His shed is all gone. I remember his shed. I remember his memory. So, number 1, to be always ready to die. Number 2, to make good and effective use of my time. Number 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Number 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5, to perform good actions relative to my creed, in alignment with my values. Number 6, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Number 7, number 8 now, to keep my balance. I feel like I missed one. Make good and effective use of time, develop, maintain good and sound life principles, cultivate good emotional reactions, perform good actions. Recognize true limits and true opportunities. So I'm being reasonable in my expectations of myself. And then to do just one thing at a time, and then to maintain my balance. Okay, so now I've aligned my sights for the day with magnetic north. So what am I going to do today? So remember, I only give myself one thing that I need to do a day. But today I'm going to add a second. So the one thing that I require of myself, well, I wonder if I shouldn't do that. Here's the thing. One thing a day is all in, that's kind of important. Now that I'm retired, one thing a day is all I have to do, because that then gives me the latitude to build out from the day whatever else I want to do, to make good use of the freedom that I have. Normally that one thing a day that has been listing something in my store, but it doesn't have to be that, because I have something else I need to do today. I came to Japan with an international driver's license, and it's still good, but it's not a good idea to go for a long time on one of those, especially after you've got your residency, because it's bad form, and it might get you in trouble. Let's say I get into an accident, and somebody gets hurt, and push comes to shove, and here I am driving around without a valid Japanese driver's license, but a resident card. I don't want to do that. That's why I'm not driving much. I'm trying to keep off the road. That's why I'm not doing adventures right now. One of the reasons. So I've got all the paperwork in order to get my license reissued. And today we're going to go, the driving center is only open for such things on Wednesdays from a certain window of time. So Yumiko, my wife, already did this. We both had Japanese driver's licenses before. We both went back to America. Our driver's licenses here lapsed. We needed to get it reissued. My wife already figured out how to do it. She went through the process and got hers reissued, no problem. Now we're trying to do the same with me. And I have all my paperwork in order. I'm missing one translation. Whoops, that might get us. And I'm also having a hard time getting one piece of information that they'll want. This would be from the United States government that I can't get because they don't record that information anymore.